Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. This is the Solid Waste Advisory Commission regular meeting for February 22nd, 2023. It is now a minute after 4, and we'll start with roll call. Please identify if you are present. James Leckie.
Here.
Megan Larson.
Here.
Sean Keating.
Here.
Karen Richmond.
Here.
Mark Larson.
Here. Nelson.
Nelson. Scott Walters.
Here.
Steve Corey, present. Tom Oddie. And we'll move on to the ex officio members. Rochelle Klein. Conrad, I believe if we have any questions, I should direct them to you. Thank you. Quorum being present, we'll go ahead and move on to adoption of the agenda. The agenda was sent out before the meeting. Are there any comments on the proposed agenda?
Mr. Chair, no comments, but move to adopt the agenda as written.
Before I ask for a second, I want to go ahead and point out just after the staff program report on 2, I've been asked that Mark wants to make a quick announcement about Recycle a Bicycle program. And I will do a quick announcement about last night's presentation of the annual report to City Council. No change to the agenda. I just want to go ahead and identify that there'll be a couple more things in the program report. Okay, it's been moved to approve the agenda as written. Is there a second? Second. It's been moved and seconded that the agenda be approved as written. Are there further comments or motions? Sensing the commission is ready for a vote. All those in favor of approving the agenda as written signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? The motion passes. We'll move on to minutes from the draft minutes for the January 25th meeting. Are there any comments on the proposed minutes?
Mr. Chair, I would move that we approve the minutes as written.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that the draft minutes for the January 25th meeting be approved as written. Further comments? Sensing the commission is ready for a vote. All those in favor of approving the draft minutes for the January 25th meeting as written signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? The motion passes. Very good. Okay. We'll move on to staff program reports. And Sayard, I am going to turn it over to you. We have some more data to go ahead and present before the commission, and Sayard's going to take it from here.
Thanks. Yeah, so since we got the Christmas tree tonnage, I figured I'd just combine all of it together. So the leaves in all 3 winter events. And Rochelle is able to listen in.
Oh, okay.
So we'll start with the leaf, I'll do chronologically. So I'll start with the leaf recycling program. So we just had both, if you remember, the drop off, collection, and curbside. And the drop off started in October. And we had, usually we have 9 parks, but we had 8 this year because Discovery Park was, there was construction. So we just had 8. And we also had, again, the transfer station and the county landfill. And it was extended this year at the end, I think over maybe a few weeks. And we had around a little under 150 tons. And then, and for the curbside, that was still the same, November to the end of November 7th to the end of November. And that was over 500 tons of leaves collected. And you can see here just kind of the pictures. This is kind of same setup as last year with our sandwich boards. And then we had, you know, smaller roll-offs. You can throw stuff in, and then ones that you can walk into. So then comparing the years, so we started in 2019 with just curbside, and then we introduced 2020 the drop off. So drop off and curbside. Sorry, my Zoom was a little less this year than last year, but I think it's, you know, some of it's probably weather dependent. You know, the leaves didn't drop until later on, and then unfortunately people, you know, some of them were able to recycle it, if not bring it to the landfill. And then we move on to the holiday recycling, the pilot project still. This was actually pretty successful this year. Unfortunately, I didn't get any pictures. They tipped it before I was able to get out there. But just some perspective, last year we ran it from December 8th to January 15th. And there was just a 55-gallon, roughly, oh, you can't see my mouse. Oh, you can. So yeah, just roughly this filled up with Christmas lights. This year we extended it. So November 28th to the 14th. And we had brimming. Actually, it was hard. I was told it was hard to shut the lid, a 3-yard dumpster. And here's the example of, or the exact dumpster that was used. So that's pretty exciting. And I know outreach specifically, Rochelle actually, the news interviewed her about cardboard, and then she also talked about holiday lights, and I think that helped get the word out better about this program. Technically, you can bring your lights all year round there because it would just be dropped off with the scrap metal, but we try to do you know, Republic's been kind enough to have a container just to house those and truly try to promote it during the time where most people are getting rid of their lights. And again, this is sent to Pacific Steel and Recycling. So looking forward to next year. How many, maybe a 20-yard roll-off? Probably not. And then winter extra trash week. So that went from the 26th to the 30th. That hasn't changed from last year. And these are on just by count. So we got 2 Freon appliances, you know, such as, you know, a refrigerator or AC unit, that would be a Freon. Non-Freon appliances would be a stove, and then bulky item count, 362 items. So a good amount of items picked up this year. And then the last one is the Christmas tree recycling. This was again just a year or a week-long event, so the 26th to January 7th. And so people could get rid of their Christmas trees, curbside, transfer station, the landfill. And new this year, actually, Timber Creek was, I asked them if they would be able to do this, and they offered, you know, it didn't matter where you're at, if you live in a city or not, but a customer can bring in one Christmas tree for free to have it composted. So that was great. Another opportunity for people to get rid of their trees. And everybody followed the same until January 7th. Or no, it went longer, right? Christmas tree, or maybe not. Yeah, the first week. Okay. So around 32 tons were diverted, and that's 1,268 hundred trees, so pretty good amount. And then they're composted at Timber Creek Recycling. And this is, some of these pictures are taken, this is what it looks like on our website. So when you go to our website to look at each event, these are, I figured I would showcase you the pictures too, to have an idea, kind of a before and after example. And then this is actually at a coworker's house. We staged this to kind of give an example of what things are supposed to look like. And then, yeah. Do you have any questions on any of the numbers from the events?
Commissioners, just as a reminder, one of the things that is a duty of our commission is to go ahead and provide recommendations and suggestions for the future growth, development, and regulation of solid waste and recycling facilities and services of the city. And so that's, we're kind of rounding out the data. Hopefully this gets you a complete picture of the waste stream from Meridian. So yeah, if you have any questions or comments on the information presented so far, that would be good. Hey, Sayre, are you going to continue with the commercial and industrial now, or?
That's going to be the next quarter. I'm going to put it all together. And then if I have 2021 data, I'll add that in as well.
Okay,
So the next quarter report. Yeah.
so that'll be at the April meeting.
Yes, yes, that's right.
Okay, as mentioned, well, before I leave that, if ever there's something that you can think of that is associated with the waste stream coming from the community in the city and the recycled materials coming from the city that we're not hearing of, please speak up, because we'll definitely get the information and get on top of that to make sure that we know what's going on and can help council go ahead and prepare for it. As mentioned, I'm going to go ahead and take a slight diversion, and we'll start off with a report on Recycle a Bicycle. Mark?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to touch base that May in Motion is coming. And this year, we just wanted to kind of take advantage of some lessons learned from last year and kind of get ahead of the game. Working with the city on a communications plan and kind of things like how many bikes are we going to commit to? We had some bad luck last year with we did over 35 bikes and only a handful of folks that we reached out to actually picked them up. And we had several kind of pickup times after that, and people just didn't participate. So I think we kind of learned a little bit. Of course, the weather was kind of crazy and it was our first year out of COVID, but still we'll kind of be a little quicker on communication to the public, hopefully. And I think we should probably do something more like we have some dedicated bikes, but bring extras and just have some that we just give away, because we always have people that show up, and had they known, we probably could have got rid of those bikes, but we'd hold on to them thinking that people were going to come pick them up. So I think we'll, Commissioner Walters and I and Rochelle will kind of get together and here shortly and kind of brainstorm lessons learned and then start making a plan. So more to follow, but also wanted to thank Commissioner Keating. I understand that you brought a crew out and helped us get some bikes ready. All right, and Commissioner Walters and I are going to stop by the transfer station tomorrow. They've been doing a lot of work, making space for us and preparing for the season. So we'll go get the lay of the land and start probably reaching out for help, either sorting bikes or doing some triage or some fixing. But we're a little too soon now, but we'll have a better idea how many we want before we really get people to work. But anyway, that's just more to follow, but we haven't forgot about it yet.
Commissioners, any questions or comments?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Nelson, just a minor question. We'll be participating in the event again, and do you know what that date is?
You know, I don't. Sayer, do you know the May in Motion date?
Yeah, I'm looking up right now. I can get back to you in a second.
Thank you.
Isn't it the Meridian Unplugged?
Unplugged.
outside.
Thank you.
It's also May in Motion for every.
Okay, while Sayers looking that up, I'll just go ahead and do a quick report. Of course, the presentation of the annual report to council is just that, just reporting on the information that we've got, and that pretty much was straightforward. We did have a few items that council members were considering that they wanted to go ahead and follow up on. So I'll go ahead and identify those subjects. One council person was just wanting to get an update on the solid waste management plan, which Public Works staff went ahead and updated, that it would be coming out probably within a few months, a couple of months from now. In a follow-up question, identifying that they would love to see us enhancing composting, maybe having a voluntary composting program or something like that. And I guess we'll, as I mentioned to them, we follow what's going on commercially and follow what's going on in the subscription service for the present, but we're always interested in things that might open up. So just so you're aware of that. And one of the other council members wanted to follow up on household hazardous waste and identify how important it was to the community. And in general, though, the council is very appreciative of the work that you guys do, and it really wants it to clear that they feel that things are going well. So with that, we'll go ahead and move on to old business. Oh, do you have the numbers, Sarah?
Yeah, so May 13th, Saturday. And that's the kick. I think we do the first day, right? The kickoff day. Yeah, so May 13th, because it ranges, I think, a full week.
Thank you.
10 to 2. Still at Kleiner Park.
Anyway, in old business, the item that we've been continuing on is outreach using art. And I've followed up on my action to go ahead and contact the couple of artists that we were given their names, and have yet to have any information to kind of pass back. But certainly we do have a couple of artists that are versed in using found objects to go ahead and create artwork. When I do get some feedback on that, I'll go ahead and provide it to everyone for their consideration. But now would be appropriate for any thoughts about this project. And where we left it was, we just mentioned, of course, there are two possibilities. One of them would be to maybe have a kiosk or booth at the Arts Week project. Another one would be to have some kind of a art display up in the Initial Point Gallery up on the top floor of City Hall. And of course, there are some other options on things that could be done. But at this point, I think we're still brainstorming on this to figure out if there's kind of something we want to pursue. So the floor is open for any commissioner that would like to comment on using art for outreach.
So, Mr. Chair, my personal preference or view is the former option, which is a booth at the art festival or week. Because if this is an outreach activity, it provides us the opportunity to interact with the public and talk about recycling, as well as provide a fun activity or a fun display of artwork made with recycled materials or something like that. That's the vision that I have. I think art in the Initial Point Gallery would be great, but it would limit our opportunities to connect with folks for outreach.
Thank you, Commissioner Larson. Other commissioners that want to go ahead and add some thoughts?
Mr. Chair, I would just concur with the last comment about it. Be much more interaction with the public if we were out there.
Question's been asked, what is the date for that? Yeah, I was going to say September, but September or October.
Have it noted on my calendar as September 16th, but that might not be accurate.
Yeah, the Cassandra Schiffer, the liaison for the Meridian Art Commission, had sent me a note, and yes, she identifies that it is the week of September 16th through 23rd. So that would be it. Thank you. That really kind of helps me a little bit on this, that we're talking about an informational booth. Well, so the conversation has come from a couple of commissioners of an informational booth. Are there further comments?
I agree that the informational booth would have the best value at this time and perhaps give us inspiration for future events.
Okay, sensing that there is kind of a consensus developing on this. I'm wondering if it's appropriate to go ahead and, well, I was wondering whether it was appropriate to go ahead and form a subcommittee at this particular point to focus on the details of this activity. I kind of feel like it might be just a little bit early. I can keep on trying to get some information from these artists and the information that we need to know about having a booth, fees, size of the booth, things like that, and bring that back to the commission. But if the commission feels like they are excited and interested in this, I don't mind forming a subcommittee at this point. But again, it can give you a chance to think about it, and you can volunteer to be on that subcommittee when it forms. Any feeling from the commission at this point that they'd like the subcommittee to form at this time?
Mr. Chair, I'm not sure this time in February if it's necessary, but thinking about if one possible thing we could do is a contest, right? Where make something out of recycled materials and we'll lay them at our booth and they'll be voting from the people at Art Week and there'll be a small prize or something like that to sort of make the connection between recycling and art very visual, some activity to engage folks in. So if we were to do something like that, we need some lead time of a month or something before the actual activity to give people a chance to participate in a contest if we did one. We talked about the drawbacks of doing an activity live at the booth with having people messing around with recycled materials and cleanliness and things of that nature. But if we did a contest where somebody brought in their creation made out of recycled materials and people could stop by the booth and vote for their favorite and there'd be a prize or something, some connection to art.
Thank you. That's a good comment, and I will find out all the logistics we need to know about that and bring that back to the group. Additional subjects that come to mind at this point, and if not, then thank you. I know it's kind of a short run through, but it certainly helps me to be able to talk with the Arts Commission when our idea is a little bit more focused rather than having something that says we're open to do anything, which of course I know we always are. So with that, we'll move on from old business to stakeholder updates. Republic, do you have anything you feel you need to bring before us at this time? You're welcome. And seeing there's no one present from Timber Creek, we'll go ahead and move on from stakeholder updates to action items. And as I mentioned, I was going to reach out to the artists, initiated that, have not gotten any feedback yet. So I will leave that on the list and go ahead and expand on that to try to get some more details so that we have the information we need to maybe form a subcommittee to go ahead and focus on the event. And with that, we've completed all the actions on the agenda. Is there any business that anyone feels we've missed that needs to be brought up at this time?
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to mention that back in December, we worked with the Boise Bike Project and Rochelle contacted them and they came out and I think they took 140 bikes. Wow. It was a significant amount. So there's potential for future cooperation with them.
Thank you. I'm very appreciative of that. As we reached out to the Senior Advisory Board, they noticed all the press that the Boise Bicycle Project got and caught back with me and said, "Are you working with them?" And it's like, well, as a matter of fact, they did come by and pick some up, and a number of other people actually approached me and said, "Are we working with them?" And it was good to be able to say that. And I apologize. I think I had feedback that they took 50, 140 is even better.
Don't quote me.
Rochelle just says 85.
85? Okay.
Might be 140. Between 85 and 140, I guess.
Anyway, the point of this really is that, and I think I've mentioned this before, when the landfill was the new one, the new North Ravine cells were opened for use on or about 2012. The hope was that the landfill would have 100 years of life. So certainly at that particular point, they hoped that they would get through this century. And as things have gone on, that has not come to fruition. Generally, the concept is that growth of the valley has been much larger than we thought it was going to be. As just a very light, rough pencil estimate now, a number of like 2065, a little over 40 years from now is when they feel they're going to fill up the current landfill. And so certainly over the next little while, we'll go ahead and hear a number of things. One of them is how to prepare for that activity, but another one is very strong focus on trying to reduce the amount of waste that actually ends up in the landfill. And that was a long way to get back to this the Recycle a Bicycle project. It's very appreciative that that these bikes, which are in many times just needing to be wiped off with a wet wipe, maybe a little bit of oil and such, and they're perfect for someone to be able to enjoy. Is certainly a nice thing for us to do to kind of postpone when we have to go ahead and consider a new landfill. Is there any other items which ought to come before the commission at this time? Very good. Then our next meeting is March 26th, or I'm sorry, March 22nd. I don't actually have any items for that meeting at this particular time. Certainly, I'm sure suggestions will come forth, but if you do have some suggestions of things that you want to go ahead and have us consider next month, I would certainly appreciate that. And with that, I think I will give you guys a little bit of a spring present since I kept you late last month. We'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 4:33. And as always, very much appreciate the work you do for us.